There's a moment when every boy realizes no one's coming to save him, and that's when he becomes a man. Some boys never get there. They stay children forever, waiting, hoping, praying that someone will swoop in and fix their life. But you're different. You're here because you already know the truth. Nobody is coming. No miracle. No lucky break. No inheritance. No shortcut. It's just you. You and the person you see in the mirror every single morning. And that person needs to become a monster, not the villain in someone else's story, not a threat to innocent people, but a force of nature, ruthlessly ambitious, disciplined beyond measure, someone who makes the impossible look routine. You should be the kind of person who walks into a room and the energy shifts, not because you're loud, not because you're trying to prove something, but because you've built something inside yourself that can't be ignored. You should be a warrior in a garden, not a gardener in a war. This is your winter arc. This is the season when everyone else is coasting, when everyone else is comfortable, when everyone else is making excuses about the weather, the holidays, the timing. While they're sleeping in, you're getting up. While they're partying, you're training. While they're talking about their dreams, you're building yours in silence. Winter is when champions are made, not in the spotlight, not when the crowds are cheering, but in the dark, in the cold, in the lonely hours when nobody's watching and nobody cares. This isn't a book about motivation. Motivation is temporary. Motivation fades when things get hard. This is a book about transformation, about becoming someone different, someone stronger, someone who doesn't need motivation because discipline has become your identity. Life isn't fair, not even close. The world doesn't care about your feelings. It doesn't care about your excuses. It doesn't care about your circumstances. So, what are you going to do about it? Are you going to complain? Are you going to blame? Are you going to wait for someone to change it for you? Or are you going to take responsibility for every single thing in your life and become the person who handles it? The winter arc is about that choice. The choice to stop being a victim. The choice to stop waiting. The choice to become dangerous. Not dangerous to others, but dangerous to mediocrity. Dangerous to comfort. Dangerous to the version of yourself that's been holding you back. Let me be clear. This is going to be hard. The hardest thing you've ever done. Because you're not just changing what you do. You're changing who you are. And that requires killing the old version of yourself. The lazy version. The scared version. The version that makes excuses. That version has to die. And only you can kill it. Most people won't do this. Most people will read this introduction, nod their head, feel inspired for about 15 minutes, and then go right back to their comfortable life. And that's fine. This book isn't for most people. This book is for the ones who are tired of being most people. You know who you are. You're the one who's been pretending everything is okay when it's not. You're the one who's been settling for average when you know you are capable of exceptional. You're the one who's been waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, the perfect circumstances. Here's the truth. The perfect moment doesn't exist. The perfect plan is the one you execute, and the perfect circumstances are the ones you create. Your winter arc starts now. Not tomorrow. Not Monday. Not next month. Now. And it starts with a simple recognition. You are not the person you need to be yet, but you can become that person. You will become that person. Every single chapter in this book is a tool, a weapon, a strategy for transformation. You're going to learn how to build unshakable discipline, how to develop mental toughness that makes you unstoppable, how to create systems that guarantee success, how to protect your energy like your life depends on it, because it does. You're going to learn how to embrace the grind, how to fall in love with the process, how to become comfortable being uncomfortable, how to be the person who shows up every single day, no matter what. But here's the catch. You have to actually do it. Reading this book won't change anything. Agreeing with these words won't change anything. What changes everything is action. Consistent, relentless, daily action. So as you read, ask yourself, am I actually willing to do this? Am I willing to sacrifice my comfort? Am I willing to be misunderstood? Am I willing to be called crazy, obsessed, antisocial? Am I willing to stand alone? Because that's what the winter arc requires. It requires you to separate from the pack, to stop caring what people think, to stop trying to fit in, to stop seeking approval from people who aren't even where you want to be. It's time to stay focused. It's time to decide. No more clubs. No more parties. No more wasting time trying to convince people you're not weird. The more weird you are is a reflection of how committed you are to your craft, to your goals, to your transformation. Let them call you antisocial. Let them wonder why you're always working. Let them question your choices. While they're wondering, you're winning. While they're partying, you're preparing. While they're comfortable, you're becoming dangerous. This is your winter arc, your season of isolation, your season of growth, your season of becoming. The sun doesn't stop for nobody. The sun is going to rise tomorrow morning regardless of how you feel, regardless of how depressed you are, regardless of how unmotivated you are. These days are going to keep going by. So what are you going to do? Let the days pass and wake up a year from now in the same place? Or pick it up and figure it out? I'm betting you're a life goes on type of person. The type who understands that mistakes happen, setbacks happen, but you don't stop. You figure it out from this point forward. You keep moving. That's who this book is for. The person who refuses to quit. The person who's willing to be uncomfortable. The person who's ready to become a monster and then learn how to control it. Welcome to your winter arc. Let's build something unforgettable. Your winter arc is not just a season. It's a decision, a commitment, a declaration of war against the version of yourself that's been holding you back. It's the time when you separate from everyone else, when you go dark, when you focus so intensely on becoming better that everything else fades into the background. This is your time, your season, your transformation. And by the time you emerge from your winter arc, you will be someone completely different, someone stronger, someone more disciplined, someone unstoppable. But only if you commit, only if you embrace it fully, only if you refuse to negotiate with yourself. The old you ends here. The new you begins now. Welcome to your winter arc. Chapter 1. The hard truth nobody wants to hear. You're not special. You're not unique. You're not destined for greatness just because you exist. The universe doesn't owe you anything. Your parents don't owe you anything. Society doesn't owe you anything. Nobody owes you a damn thing. And that's the best news you'll ever hear. Because it means everything you become is on you. Every success, every failure, every moment of triumph, and every moment of defeat. It's all your responsibility. And with that responsibility comes power. The power to change everything. But most people don't want to hear this. Most people want to believe they're victims, that their circumstances are holding them back, that if only they had more money, more time, more support, more luck, then they'd be successful. It's easier to blame than to build. It's easier to make excuses than to make progress. You want the truth. You are exactly where you deserve to be right now, based on the actions you've taken, based on the decisions you've made, based on the effort you've put in. Your current reality is a perfect reflection of your past choices. Don't like where you are? Change your choices. Change your actions. Change yourself. It's that simple. Not easy, but simple. The problem is most people aren't willing to do what it takes. They want the results without the work. They want the body without the discipline. They want the success without the sacrifice. They want the respect without earning it. Life doesn't work that way. Never has. Never will. You want to know why you haven't achieved what you want. Because you haven't become the person who deserves it yet. You haven't paid the price. You haven't put in the hours. You haven't made the sacrifices. You are still hoping someone will hand it to you. But that's about to change. Because you're entering your winter arc. And during your winter arc, you're going to become someone different. Someone who doesn't need handouts. Someone who doesn't make excuses. Someone who handles their business no matter what. You know exactly what you need to do. You've always known. You need to wake up earlier. You need to work harder. You need to stop wasting time. You need to stop eating garbage. You need to stop scrolling. You need to stop making excuses. You know exactly what needs to happen, but you don't want to do it because it sucks. It sucks to wake up early. It sucks to work when you're tired. It sucks to say no to fun. It sucks to be disciplined when everyone else is being lazy. It sucks to be different. So you make excuses. You rationalize. You justify. You convince yourself that you'll start tomorrow. You convince yourself that you need the perfect plan. You convince yourself that you're not ready yet. But here's what you're really saying. I'm not willing to be uncomfortable. I'm not willing to sacrifice. I'm not willing to do what it takes. I'm not willing to be great. And you know what? That's okay. Most people aren't. Most people are comfortable being average. Most people are fine with mediocrity. Most people will never push themselves to find out what they're truly capable of. But you're not most people. You're here. You're reading this. You're still listening. That means something inside you knows you're meant for more. Something inside you is screaming that you're capable of more. Something inside you refuses to accept mediocrity as your destiny. That something is the real you. The you that's been buried under fear, doubt, comfort, and excuses. The you that's been waiting for permission to come out. The you that's ready to take over. It's time to let that version of you take control. It's time to stop negotiating with yourself. It's time to stop making deals with mediocrity. It's time to go all in. No more I'll try. Either do it or don't. No more I'll see how it goes. Commit or quit. No more if it's meant to be. Make it happen or accept that you chose not to. This is the hard truth. This is the conversation nobody wants to have. But this is the conversation that changes everything. Because once you accept total responsibility for your life, once you stop blaming anyone or anything else, once you recognize that you have the power to change everything, that's when transformation begins. Power follows the blame finger. Wherever you point blame is where the power goes. Point it at the government, they have the power. Point it at your parents, they have the power. Point it at your circumstances, they have the power. Point it at yourself, you have the power. Take the power back. Point the finger at yourself and say, it's my fault. It's my responsibility. It's my choice. It's my life. And I'm going to do something about it. What if it's not your fault? Doesn't matter. What if your circumstances are genuinely difficult? Doesn't matter. What if you've had real obstacles? Doesn't matter. Either you take responsibility or you stay stuck. Those are your only two options. You can be right or you can be successful. You can't be both. You can sit there and explain all the reasons why your life is hard and why you haven't succeeded, and you'll be right. Congratulations. You're right. You're also stuck. You're also broke. You're also unhappy. You're also unfulfilled. But hey, at least you're right. Or you can say it doesn't matter to all of it and take responsibility anyway. Doesn't matter that you didn't have a father. Doesn't matter that you grew up poor. Doesn't matter that you didn't get the opportunities others got. Doesn't matter. You're here now. What are you going to do about it? That's the question that matters. Not what happened to you. Not what you didn't get. Not what someone else has that you don't. What are you going to do about your situation right now? Are you going to let it define you? Or are you going to use it to refine you? Are you going to let it break you? Or are you going to let it make you? Are you going to be a victim? Or are you going to be a victor? The winter arc is about becoming a victor. It's about taking every single disadvantage you have and turning it into fuel. Every person who doubted you becomes motivation. Every obstacle becomes a challenge to overcome. Every setback becomes a setup for a comeback. But you have to choose it. Every single day. You have to wake up and choose to be responsible. Choose to be disciplined. Choose to be relentless. Because no matter how much you improve, no matter how much you change, it's not permanent. You don't just become disciplined one day and stay that way forever. Every single morning you wake up and you have to make the choice again. Am I going to be the person I'm trying to become? Or am I going to slide back into the person I'm trying to leave behind? Every single day is a choice. And that choice makes you misunderstood. It makes people think you're crazy. It makes people wonder why you can't just relax and have fun like everyone else. Because you're trying to get it. That's why. While everyone else is at the club, you're working. While everyone else is sleeping in, you're training. While everyone else is comfortable, you're growing. Because you're trying to get it. And once you get it, then you can do whatever you want. But until then, you're locked in. Let me tell you something. These women ain't going nowhere. These clubs, these parties, all this stuff ain't going nowhere. It'll all be there when you're done building. But right now, you're in your winter arc. And during your winter arc, you're focused. You're committed. You're obsessed. The more weird you are, the more antisocial you are, the more obsessed you are. That's a reflection of how committed you are to your transformation. Embrace it. Don't apologize for it. Don't explain it to people who don't get it. Just do it. Be the guy who embraces the ugly, the miserable, the grind. Don't be afraid of being hurt. Don't be afraid of suffering. Don't be afraid of hard work. Because that's where winning lives. That's where transformation lives. That's where the person you're trying to become lives. Most people aren't willing to go there. It's too scary. It's too uncomfortable. It's too lonely. But you're not most people. You're willing to go to that dark place. You're willing to embrace the pain. You're willing to do what others won't so you can live how others can't. That's the hard truth. Success is not complicated. It's just hard. It's just uncomfortable. It's just lonely. It's just scary. But it's not complicated. You know exactly what to do. The question is, are you willing to do it? Your winter arc is your answer. And the answer better be yes. Chapter 2. Decide who you are and refuse to negotiate. You need to decide who you are. Right now. Not tomorrow. Not when you feel ready. Not when circumstances align. Right now. Who are you? Who are you choosing to be? What kind of person are you becoming? Because here's the thing. You're not a fixed thing. You're not stuck as whoever you were yesterday. You're not limited by your past. You're not defined by your mistakes. You can decide right now to be someone different. And then you can refuse to negotiate with that decision. Most people never do this. Most people just float through life being whoever they happen to be based on how they were raised, who their friends are, what's comfortable, what's easy. They never consciously decide who they want to become. They never commit to a version of themselves. They never draw a line in the sand. That's why they're weak. That's why they're inconsistent. That's why they quit when things get hard. Because they never decided. They never committed. They never made it non-negotiable. You need to be different. You need to look yourself in the mirror and decide, this is who I am. This is what I stand for. This is what I will not tolerate from myself. This is the standard I'm holding myself to. And this is non-negotiable. When you make that decision, everything changes. Because now you're not just trying to do better. You're not just hoping to improve. You're protecting your identity. You're defending who you've decided to be. And that makes you unstoppable. Let me give you an example. You can decide right now. I am someone who wakes up at 5 a.m. every day. Not, I'm trying to wake up early. Not, I want to be a morning person. I am someone who wakes up at 5 a.m. That's who I am. Period. Non-negotiable. When you make that decision, when you make that part of your identity, suddenly it's not about motivation anymore. It's not about whether you feel like it. It's about who you are. And you don't negotiate with who you are. You are a man. Stand up and be a man. Make the hard decisions. Make the sacrifices. Make the unpopular decisions. Become comfortable in your own skin. And if you are not a person that you are comfortable being alone with, that is the one person in this universe that you have full power, full right, and full responsibility to change. Read that again. If you're not comfortable being alone with yourself, you have the power to change that. You have the right to change that. You have the responsibility to change that. You are the one person in your life you have complete control over. So change yourself. Decide who you want to be and become that person. Stop waiting for permission. Stop waiting for the right moment. Stop waiting for someone to believe in you. Believe in yourself. Decide for yourself. Commit to yourself. This ain't you, bro. This lazy version. This scared version. This excuse-making version. This ain't you. You weren't born like this. You know exactly what to do. You know exactly who you need to become. It just sucks doing it. It sucks making the changes. It sucks being disciplined when everyone else is being lazy. But once you decide, once you truly commit to who you're becoming, the sucking becomes irrelevant. Because you're not doing it for fun. You're not doing it because it feels good. You're doing it because it's who you are. And you don't compromise on who you are. When you become this person, people will call you crazy. They'll call you obsessed. They'll wonder why you can't just relax. Why you can't just be normal. Why you're always working. Why you're so intense. Why you never turn it off. Because if you turn it off, you go right back to who you were. That's why. You never turn it off because the person you're trying to leave behind is always there, waiting for you to slip, waiting for you to get comfortable, waiting for you to take a day off from being who you decided to be. So you don't turn it off. Ever. You wake up every single day. You recommit to the decision. Every single day you choose to be that person. Every single day you refuse to negotiate. That's how you become unstoppable. That's how you transform. That's how you win your winter arc. You decide who you are, and then you show up as that person every single day no matter what, no matter how you feel, no matter what's happening around you, no matter who believes in you or doesn't. You show up as the person you decided to be. That's integrity. That's discipline. That's strength. And over time, that decision becomes your reality. The person you decided to be becomes the person you are. Not because it was easy, not because it felt good, but because you refused to negotiate. You refused to compromise. You refused to quit on yourself. So who are you? What kind of person are you choosing to be? What standards are you setting for yourself? What are you refusing to tolerate from yourself anymore? What does the best version of you look like? What does that person do every day? How does that person think? How does that person act? Decide right now. Write it down if you have to. Make it crystal clear. And then become that person. Not someday. Today. Right now. This is your winter arc. This is when you decide. This is when you commit. This is when you become. And once you've decided, never negotiate. Never compromise. Never justify taking a step back from who you've chosen to be. Protect that decision like your life depends on it. Because it does. Your future depends on the person you're becoming right now. Your success depends on the standards you're setting right now. Your transformation depends on the commitment you're making right now. So make it. Decide who you are. And then be that person relentlessly, unapologetically, every single day. That's how legends are built. That's how champions are made. That's how you win your winter arc. No negotiations. No excuses. No turning back. You've decided. Now become. The decision you make about who you are is the most important decision you'll ever make. More important than your career choice. More important than who you marry. More important than where you live. Because who you are determines everything else. Your identity shapes your choices. Your choices shape your life. Your life becomes your legacy. So decide wisely. Decide powerfully. Decide definitively. And then never waver. Never compromise. Never negotiate with that decision. You are who you decided to be. Period. End of story. No discussion. No debate. Just certainty. Just commitment. Just unwavering dedication to being that person every single day. This is how you transform. This is how you win your winter arc. You decide who you are. And then you become that person through relentless, consistent action. You don't try to become that person. You don't hope to become that person. You simply are that person. And you prove it every single day through your choices. Decide. Commit. Become. That's the formula. That's the path. That's your winter arc in 3 words. Now go do it. Chapter 3. Burn the boats. You want to know why you keep failing. Why you keep starting and stopping. Why you keep setting goals and not achieving them. Because you always leave yourself an escape route. You always give yourself a backup plan. You always keep your options open. And that's exactly why you're stuck. Burn the boats. That's the only way forward. Complete commitment. Total dedication. No backup plan. No escape route. No safety net. You're either all in or you're wasting your time. This comes from an ancient military strategy. When armies would land on enemy shores, the commanding general would order his soldiers to burn their boats. Why? So retreat was an option. So the only way forward was to fight and win. So failure meant death. That's the level of commitment you need. That's the mentality you need to have during your winter arc. Burn the boats. Make success your only option. Make transformation inevitable because there's no alternative. But most people won't do this. Most people want to keep their options open. They want to try but not fully commit. They want to say they're going all in while keeping one foot out the door. They want transformation without the risk, success without the sacrifice, victory without the vulnerability. It doesn't work that way. You cannot have one foot in and one foot out and expect to win. You cannot partially commit and expect full results. You cannot keep your safety net and expect to take the risks necessary for breakthrough success. You have to burn the boats. You have to make it so that failure is not an option. You have to create a situation where the only way out is through, where the only direction is forward, where giving up is literally not possible because you've eliminated every other option. This is scary. This is risky. This is what separates the people who transform from the people who just talk about transforming. Because when you burn the boats, you're vulnerable. You're exposed. You're committed. And if you fail, there's no one to blame and nowhere to hide. That's exactly why you need to do it. Think about your current goals, your current dreams, your current plans. Do you have a backup plan? Do you have a safety net? Do you have an excuse ready for why it might not work out? If yes, you haven't burned the boats. You're not fully committed. And you're not going to succeed. Real commitment means you've decided that failure is not an option. Not because you're arrogant. Not because you think you're special. But because you've eliminated every other possibility. You've structured your life so that the only way forward is to succeed. You've made it so uncomfortable to stay the same that change is inevitable. How do you do this? You create consequences for failure. You tell people what you're doing so you can't quietly quit. You invest money you can't afford to lose. You quit the job you hate without another one lined up. You move to the city where your dreams live without knowing anyone. You take the leap without knowing where you'll land. Does this sound crazy? Good. It should. Because this level of commitment is crazy. This level of dedication is insane. This level of risk is terrifying. And that's exactly why most people never experience real transformation. They're not willing to be crazy. They're not willing to be insane. They're not willing to be terrified. But you're different. You're in your winter arc. And during your winter arc, you're willing to do what others won't. You're willing to risk what others protect. You're willing to burn what others cling to. Listen, you can't be great while playing it safe. You can't transform while staying comfortable. You can't become extraordinary while being ordinary. You have to be willing to risk everything, to put yourself in a position where you have no choice but to level up. That's what burning the boats means. It means making comfort impossible, making staying the same impossible, making giving up impossible. You structure your life so that the only option is to become who you're trying to become. And yes, this is uncomfortable. Yes, this is scary. Yes, this is risky. But you know what's riskier? Wasting your entire life playing it safe. Never knowing what you're capable of. Dying with your potential still inside you. Reaching the end of your life and realizing you never really tried. You never really committed. You never really went for it. That's the biggest risk of all. And it's the risk most people take. They risk their dreams by playing it safe. They risk their potential by keeping their options open. They risk their legacy by refusing to burn the boats. Don't be like most people. Be willing to risk it all. Be willing to put yourself in a position where success is the only option. Be willing to burn every boat, every bridge, every backup plan. Be willing to go all in. When you do this, something shifts inside you. You tap into a level of focus and intensity you didn't know existed. You access resources and capabilities you didn't know you had. You become someone different, someone stronger, someone capable of extraordinary things. Because when your back is against the wall and failure is not an option, you find a way. When comfort is not available and giving up is not possible, you level up. When the boats are burned and the only way is forward, you become unstoppable. This is your winter arc. This is your time to burn the boats, to eliminate the escape routes, to make transformation non-negotiable, to put yourself in a position where you have to succeed because there's no alternative. Are you willing to do it? Are you willing to risk it all? Are you willing to make yourself vulnerable? Are you willing to commit fully with no safety net? If yes, everything changes. If no, nothing changes. It's that simple. You cannot partially commit and fully transform. You cannot keep your options open and become extraordinary. You cannot play it safe and achieve greatness. Burn the boats. Make success inevitable. Make transformation non-negotiable. Put yourself in a position where you have no choice but to become who you're meant to be. The water is behind you. The battle is ahead of you. The boats are burning. The only way is forward. And the only option is victory. Are you ready? Because there's no turning back now. Your winter arc demands complete commitment, total dedication, absolute focus, no safety nets, no backup plans, no escape routes. Burn the boats and watch yourself become unstoppable. There's a difference between trying and committing. When you try, you have an out. When you commit, you have no choice but to succeed. When you try, you're testing the waters. When you commit, you're all the way in. When you try, failure is an option. When you commit, failure is not even in the vocabulary. The boats represent your escape routes, your safety nets, your plan B, C, and D. They represent the comfort of knowing you can go back if things don't work out. But that comfort is killing your potential. That safety is sabotaging your success. Those backup plans are guaranteeing that you'll need them. Because when you have a backup plan, you don't give your main plan everything. You hold back. You hedge your bets. You play it safe. And playing it safe guarantees mediocre results at best. You can't be great while playing it safe. You can't achieve extraordinary things while keeping one foot out the door. So burn the boats. All of them. Make success your only option. Make transformation inevitable. Create a situation where the only way forward is to become who you're meant to be. This is scary. This is vulnerable. This is what separates those who talk from those who do. Chapter 4. Master the art of doing it anyway. You know what the difference is between people who succeed and people who don't. It's not talent. It's not connections. It's not luck. It's not even hard work. It's the ability to do it anyway. Do it when you don't feel like it. Do it when you're tired. Do it when you're scared. Do it when no one believes in you. Do it when you don't believe in yourself. Do it when it's raining. Do it when it's cold. Do it when you're sore. Do it when you're broke. Do it when you're alone. Do it anyway. That's the skill. That's the superpower. That's what separates the exceptional from the average. The ability to show up and do the work regardless of how you feel, regardless of circumstances, regardless of anything. Most people operate on feelings. If they feel motivated, they work. If they feel energized, they train. If they feel inspired, they create. If they feel confident, they take action. And when they don't feel those things, they don't do anything. They wait. They hope the feeling comes back. They scroll on their phone and hope tomorrow will be different. You cannot operate like this. You cannot let your feelings dictate your actions. You cannot wait for motivation. You cannot wait for inspiration. You cannot wait to feel like it, because you will never consistently feel like it. And if you only act when you feel like it, you will never accomplish anything significant. You need to become the person who does it anyway. The person who gets up at 5 a.m. even when the bed is warm and comfortable. The person who goes to the gym even when they're tired. The person who works on their business even when they're not seeing results. The person who keeps pushing even when every fiber of their being wants to quit. How do you become this person? You practice. Every single day. Every single moment is an opportunity to practice doing it anyway. Every time you don't feel like doing something, but you do it anyway, you're building that muscle. You're strengthening that skill. You're becoming that person. And here's the beautiful thing. The more you do it anyway, the easier it gets. Not because the tasks get easier, but because you get stronger. Your capacity expands. Your tolerance for discomfort increases. Your ability to push through resistance grows. Think about it like this. Every single morning your alarm goes off is a battle. It's a war between the person you are and the person you're trying to become. The old you wants to hit snooze, wants to stay comfortable, wants to avoid the discomfort of getting up. The new you knows what needs to be done, knows what your goals require, knows that every day you don't show up is a day you move further from your dreams. Who wins that battle? The answer to that question determines your life. If the old you wins most days, you stay stuck. If the new you wins most days, you transform. It's that simple. And you win by doing it anyway. You don't negotiate. You don't think about it. You don't analyze how you feel. You just do it. Alarm goes off. Feet at the floor. That's it. No discussion. No debate. Just action. That principle applies to everything. You don't feel like working out? Do it anyway. You don't feel like working on your business? Do it anyway. You don't feel like studying? Do it anyway. You don't feel like eating healthy? Do it anyway. You don't feel like being disciplined? Do it anyway. Your feelings are not facts. Your feelings are not reality. Your feelings are just temporary sensations that will pass. And if you let temporary feelings dictate permanent actions, you'll create a life you don't want to live. But if you learn to act in spite of your feelings, if you learn to do what needs to be done regardless of how you feel, you become unstoppable. Because now your success doesn't depend on motivation. It doesn't depend on inspiration. It doesn't depend on feelings. It only depends on your commitment to do it anyway. This is what your winter arc is all about. Training yourself to act regardless of circumstances. Building the discipline to do what you said you would do even when every part of you doesn't want to. Becoming someone who honors their commitments to themselves no matter what. And let me be clear. This doesn't mean you won't feel the resistance. This doesn't mean it won't be hard. This doesn't mean you'll suddenly love doing hard things. You'll still feel tired. You'll still feel unmotivated. You'll still feel like quitting. The difference is you do it anyway. You acknowledge the feeling. You recognize the resistance. And then you act anyway. You don't fight the feeling. You don't try to change the feeling. You just don't let the feeling determine your action. You feel it and do it anyway. This is real power. This is real strength. Not the absence of fear, doubt, or fatigue, but the ability to act in the presence of fear, doubt, and fatigue. That's what makes you dangerous. That's what makes you unstoppable. Think about the most successful people you know. The people who've accomplished extraordinary things. Do you think they felt motivated every day? Do you think they felt inspired every morning? Do you think they always felt confident and ready? Hell no. They felt the same doubts you feel. The same fears. The same resistance. The difference is they did it anyway. They showed up anyway. They worked anyway. They pushed anyway. And that consistency, that discipline, that commitment to act regardless of feelings, that's what created their success. You have the same opportunity. Right now. Today. This moment. You can decide that from this point forward, you're someone who does it anyway. Someone who doesn't negotiate with themselves. Someone who doesn't need to feel ready. Someone who just acts. And when you make that decision, when you start living that way, everything changes. You stop being a slave to your emotions. You stop being controlled by your circumstances. You stop being limited by your feelings. You become free. Free to create the life you want because you are no longer waiting for permission from your feelings. The sun doesn't stop for nobody. The sun is going to rise tomorrow morning regardless of how you feel, regardless of your emotions, regardless of your circumstances. The sun just shows up and does its job. Every single day. No excuses. No negotiations. Just consistent, reliable presence. Be like the sun. Show up every day. Do your job every day. Shine every day. Regardless of clouds. Regardless of storms. Regardless of who's watching or who's not watching. Just show up and do it anyway. That's the art. That's the skill. That's the secret. Do it anyway. Do it anyway. Do it anyway. Make that your mantra. Make that your identity. Make that who you are. And watch your life transform. Not because you suddenly got motivated. Not because everything got easier. But because you became someone who doesn't need it to be easy. Someone who doesn't wait for the right moment. Someone who just does what needs to be done. Every single day. No matter what. Do it anyway. That's your winter arc. That's your transformation. That's your path to unstoppable. Chapter 5. Protect your energy like your life depends on it. Your energy is your most valuable resource. Not your time. Not your money. Your energy. Because without energy, you can't use your time effectively. Without energy, you can't make money. Without energy, you can't do anything. You're just existing, surviving, going through the motions. And right now, your energy is being drained by people who don't deserve access to you, by activities that don't serve your goals, by thoughts that don't empower you, by habits that don't support who you're trying to become. You're leaking energy everywhere and wondering why you're always tired, why you can't seem to make progress, why you feel stuck. During your winter arc, this has to stop. You have to become ruthless about protecting your energy. You have to treat your energy like the precious resource it is. You have to guard it, protect it, and invest it wisely, because your transformation depends on it. Let's start with people. Who are you spending time with? Who has access to your energy? Because the people in your life are either filling your cup or draining it. They're either supporting your transformation or sabotaging it. There's no neutral. Everyone in your life is moving you closer to your goals or further from them. You need to audit your relationships. Seriously, make a list of everyone you spend time with. Then ask yourself, does this person make me better? Do they support my goals? Do they challenge me to grow? Do they add value to my life? Or do they drain me? Do they distract me? Do they pull me back into old patterns? Do they make me feel small? Be honest. Be ruthless. Because your winter arc is not the time for charity friendships. It's not the time to hang out with people out of obligation. It's not the time to maintain relationships that don't serve you. You need every ounce of your energy focused on becoming who you're trying to become. And if someone is draining that energy, they have to go. This sounds harsh. It is harsh. But you know what's harsher? Wasting your life being drained by people who don't appreciate you. Sacrificing your dreams to maintain relationships with people who don't support them. Staying small to make others feel comfortable. That's the real tragedy. You need to surround yourself with people who elevate you. People who make you want to be better. People who call you out when you're slacking. People who celebrate your wins and push you through your losses. People who are on their own journey of transformation and understand what you're doing. But here's the hard truth. When you're in your winter arc, when you're in your transformation phase, most people won't understand. Most people will think you're crazy. Most people will try to pull you back to who you were because it makes them comfortable. And those people, even if they're family, even if they're old friends, they cannot have unlimited access to your energy during this season. You're not being mean. You're being strategic. You're not being selfish. You're being smart. You're protecting the one resource that everything else depends on, your energy. This applies to more than just people. What are you consuming? What are you watching? What are you reading? What are you listening to? Because all of that affects your energy. All of that programs your mind. All of that shapes who you're becoming. If you're watching 3 hours of Netflix every night, scrolling social media for 2 hours a day, consuming news that makes you angry or scared, listening to music that glorifies mediocrity, you're draining your energy. You're programming yourself for failure. You're filling your mind with garbage and wondering why your life looks like a dump. Cut all out. Seriously, during your winter arc, you need to be extremely selective about what you allow into your mind. Watch less, scroll less, consume less. And when you do consume, make it intentional. Make it valuable. Make it something that adds to your energy rather than drains it. Read books that challenge you. Listen to podcasts that educate you. Watch content that inspires you. Fill your mind with information and inspiration that supports who you're becoming. Protect your mind like you protect your money, because what goes in determines what comes out. Your environment matters too. Where you spend your time affects your energy. If you're hanging out in places that trigger old habits, around people who knew the old you, doing activities that keep you comfortable, you're draining your energy fighting against your environment. Change your environment. Go to places that support your new identity. The gym instead of the bar. The library instead of the club. The coffee shop where you work instead of the couch where you scroll. Put yourself in environments that make the right choices easier and the wrong choices harder. And let's talk about your internal environment. Your thoughts. Your self-talk. The stories you tell yourself. Because that's the biggest energy drain of all. If you're constantly thinking negative thoughts, beating yourself up, doubting yourself, focusing on everything that's wrong, you're draining your energy faster than anything external ever could. You have to guard your mind. You have to be intentional about what thoughts you allow to take root. You have to challenge negative self-talk. You have to redirect your focus to what's possible rather than what's wrong. You have to train your mind to support your transformation rather than sabotage it. This is hard work. This is daily work. This is moment-by-moment work. Because your mind will default to negativity if you let it. Your mind will focus on problems if you let it. Your mind will drain your energy if you let it. So you can't let it. You have to actively manage your thoughts the same way you manage your schedule. Here's a simple practice. Throughout the day, check in with your energy level. Ask yourself, am I gaining energy or losing energy right now? If you're losing energy, identify why. Is it a person, an activity, a thought pattern? And then make a change. Remove yourself from the situation. Change the activity. Redirect your thoughts. This level of self-awareness and self-management is what separates people who transform from people who stay stuck. Because most people don't even realize their energy is being drained until they're completely empty. They wonder why they can't seem to make progress, why they're always tired, why they can't focus, and they never connect it to all the energy leaks in their life. You're not going to make that mistake. You're going to be vigilant. You're going to be ruthless. You're going to protect your energy like your life depends on it. Because it does. Your energy is what fuels your discipline. Your energy is what powers your consistency. Your energy is what drives your transformation. Without it, you have nothing. With it, you have everything. So protect it. Guard it. Invest it wisely. Only spend it on people, activities, thoughts, and environments that give you a return. Everything else has to go. This is your winter arc. This is your season of protection. Protect your peace. Protect your focus. Protect your energy. Because that energy is what's going to carry you through to the other side. That energy is what's going to fuel your transformation. That energy is what's going to make you unstoppable. Be ruthless. Be strategic. Be protective. Your energy is your most valuable resource. Treat it that way. During your winter arc, you cannot afford energy leaks. You cannot afford to waste your precious energy on things that don't serve your transformation. Every moment of energy you give to the wrong people, the wrong activities, the wrong thoughts, is a moment you're stealing from your future self. So make the hard choices. Cut off the energy drains. Protect your peace like it's your most valuable possession. Because it is. Without peace, without energy, without that internal reservoir of power, you have nothing. You're running on empty, and you can't transform on empty. Fill your cup first. Protect your energy fiercely. Be selfish about your focus. Be ruthless about your time. Be strategic about your relationships. This is not the season for charity. This is the season for focus, for intensity, for protection. Protect yourself. Protect your energy. And watch how much more capable you become. Your energy is finite. Your time is limited. Your focus is precious. Don't give any of it away to people or things that don't deserve it. Save it all for your transformation. Save it all for becoming who you're meant to be. That's the only thing that matters during your winter arc. Everything else is a distraction. Chapter 6. Fall in love with the process. Here's a question for you. What happens when you reach your goal? You get the body. You hit the income target. You achieve the success. Then what? You wake up the next day and realize you still have to do the work. You still have to maintain. You still have to show up. And if you only love the destination, you're going to be miserable. That's why you have to fall in love with the process. Not the outcome. Not the achievement. Not the praise. The process. The daily grind. The work itself. Because that's where you're going to spend most of your life. In the process. In the journey. In the day-to-day execution. If you can't find joy in the process, you'll never be satisfied. You'll achieve a goal and immediately feel empty. You will reach a milestone and immediately look for the next one. You'll succeed and realize success didn't make you happy because you never learned to be happy in the pursuit. The winter arc is the perfect time to fall in love with the process. Because the winter arc is all process. There's no immediate reward. There's no instant gratification. There's no applause. It's just you in the dark doing the work. Day after day, week after week. And if you can learn to love that, you become unstoppable. So how do you fall in love with the process? You start by changing your perspective. Stop seeing the work as something you have to do to get to the outcome. Start seeing the work as the outcome. The discipline is the reward. The consistency is the achievement. The showing up is the success. When you go to the gym, don't think, I have to do this to get a six-pack. Think, I get to do this. I get to challenge my body. I get to push my limits. I get to become stronger. The workout is not the price you pay for the result. The workout is the result. The act of showing up and doing hard things is what makes you the person you want to become. When you work on your business, don't think, I have to grind until I hit six figures. Think, I get to build something. I get to learn. I get to solve problems. I get to grow. The building is not the obstacle between you and success. The building is the success. The person you become while building is the real prize. This mindset shift changes everything. Because now you're not waiting to be happy until you achieve something. You're happy right now, in the process, in the work, in the journey. And that happiness, that fulfillment, that satisfaction with the process is what sustains you through the inevitable challenges and setbacks. Think about it. If your happiness depends on achieving a goal, what happens when you face setbacks? When things don't go as planned? When results take longer than expected? You become miserable. You become frustrated. You want to quit. Because you're not enjoying the journey. You're just enduring it. But if you love the process, setbacks don't destroy you. They're just part of the journey. Part of the process you signed up for. Part of the adventure. You stay happy. You stay motivated. You stay consistent. Because you're not doing it for the outcome anymore. You're doing it because you genuinely enjoy the work. And here's the crazy part. When you fall in love with the process, when you find joy in the daily grind, you actually achieve better results. Because you're consistent. Because you're sustainable. Because you're not burning out chasing outcomes. You're just showing up every day and loving what you do. And that consistency, over time, creates extraordinary results. But most people never get here. Most people are outcome-focused their entire lives. They're always chasing the next thing. Always thinking, I'll be happy when. Always postponing their joy until they achieve something. And they never achieve lasting satisfaction because they never learn to find satisfaction in the process. Don't be like most people. Learn to love the grind. Learn to love the work. Learn to love the process. Find something beautiful in the difficulty. Find something satisfying in the challenge. Find something rewarding in the consistency. When you wake up at 5 a.m., don't curse the alarm. Smile, because you get another day to work on yourself. Another day to become better. Another day to push your limits. How cool is that? Most people will waste today, but not you. You get to use today to build something, to become something. That's a gift. When you're in the gym and your muscles are burning, don't wish it was over. Enjoy it, because that burn is growth happening in real time. That discomfort is you expanding your capacity. That pain is weakness leaving your body. How often do you get to feel yourself becoming stronger? Right there, in that moment, you're transforming. Appreciate it. When you're working late on your business and you're tired and you're not seeing immediate results, don't get discouraged. Recognize that this is the work that counts. This is the work that separates you from everyone else. This is the work that's building something great even if you can't see it yet. This is the work you'll look back on and be proud of. Embrace it. Fall in love with the process. Not because it's easy, but because it's where you spend your life. Not because it's always enjoyable, but because finding joy in it is the key to sustainable excellence. Not because you have to, but because when you do, everything becomes better. Your winter arc is the perfect training ground for this, because the winter arc is all process. It's all work. It's all grind. There's no spotlight, no recognition, no immediate reward, just you and the work. If you can learn to love it here, in the darkness, in the cold, in the lonely hours, you'll love it everywhere. And when you love the process, when you find fulfillment in the work itself, you become dangerous, because now you can outlast anyone. You can outwork anyone. You can outconsist anyone. Because while they're suffering through the process, waiting for the outcome, you're enjoying every minute of it. That's the ultimate advantage. That's the ultimate transformation. Not just achieving your goals, but becoming someone who loves the pursuit. Someone who finds joy in the journey. Someone who doesn't need the outcome to be happy, because they're already happy in the process. Fall in love with the process. Your winter arc depends on it. Your transformation depends on it. Your long-term success depends on it. Learn to love the grind, and you'll never want to stop grinding. And when you never want to stop, that's when you become truly unstoppable. Chapter 7. Embrace the loneliness. Let's talk about something nobody wants to admit. Your winter arc is going to be lonely. Not just a little lonely. Really lonely. Isolating. Separating. You're going to feel like you're on an island. Like nobody understands. Like you're all alone in this fight. And you know what? You are. You are alone. This is your journey. Your transformation. Your battle. Nobody else can do it for you. Nobody else can understand it completely. Nobody else can want it for you as much as you want it for yourself. You are fundamentally alone in this process. And that's exactly how it should be. The path of the exceptional person is one of exception, which means you are not with other people. You are apart. You are different. You are on a different trajectory. And rather than fighting that or complaining about it, you need to embrace it. You need to see it as confirmation that you're on the right path. Because if everyone else was cheering you on, if everyone understood what you're doing, if everyone thought your choices made sense, you wouldn't be exceptional. You'd be normal. You'd be average. You'd be doing what everyone else does. And that's not where you want to be. The loneliness is the price of excellence. The isolation is the cost of transformation. The separation is the requirement for becoming extraordinary. You don't get to be exceptional and comfortable at the same time. You don't get to transform and stay in the crowd. You have to choose. And you've chosen transformation, which means you've chosen loneliness, at least for this season, at least during your winter arc, because the winter arc is when you separate from the pack, when you go into isolation, when you focus so intensely on your goals that everything else falls away. Your friends are going to invite you out. You're going to say no. They're going to ask why you're being so antisocial. You're going to explain once, maybe twice, and then you're going to stop explaining. Because they don't need to understand. They just need to respect your choice. And if they don't respect it, they don't need to be in your life right now. Your family is going to question your choices. They're going to worry. They're going to tell you you're working too hard. They're going to tell you you need to relax. They're going to tell you you're missing out on life. And you're going to smile and keep doing what you're doing because they can't see what you see. They can't feel what you feel. They don't have the same dreams you have. People are going to call you obsessed, crazy, too intense, too serious, too focused. And you're going to wear those labels like badges of honor because those labels mean you're doing it right. Those labels mean you're committed. Those labels mean you're different from everyone else who's comfortable staying the same. Here's what most people don't understand. There's a moment in every transformation journey where you're too different from the friends you had, but not successful enough yet to be friends with the people you want to be friends with. You're in this in-between space, this no man's land, this lonely middle ground. That's the hardest part. That's where most people quit, because it's lonely, because it's uncomfortable, because they want support and encouragement and nobody's giving it to them, because they're working hard and nobody sees it, because they're changing and nobody acknowledges it. But this is the most important part. This is where the real transformation happens. Not when everyone's cheering, not when success is obvious, but in this lonely middle ground, in this dark winter, in this space where you're alone with yourself and your commitment. This is where you find out who you really are. This is where you discover what you're really made of. This is where you build the unshakable foundation that your future success will rest on. Because when you can keep going when nobody's watching, when nobody's supporting, when nobody believes in you, you develop a strength that can never be broken. People only root for people who don't need it. When you're struggling, when you're alone, when you're in the dark, that's when you want support. That's when you want encouragement. That's when you want someone to tell you you're on the right track. But that's not when you get it. You get support when you've already won, when you don't need it anymore, when success is obvious. Then everyone wants to celebrate you. Then everyone knew you could do it. Then everyone was rooting for you all along. But where were they when you were alone? Where were they when you were struggling? Where were they when you needed them? They weren't there. And that's okay, because you don't need them. You have yourself. And if you have yourself, if you believe in yourself, if you're willing to root for yourself when nobody else will, that's enough. That's more than enough. That's everything. The visual that helps me is this. You're in an empty auditorium, and there's one person clapping. Slowly, consistently. That person is you. It's just you, rooting for you, for a very long period of time. It's a slow clap in an empty room, and you have to be okay with that. You have to be comfortable with that. You have to embrace that, because that's what the winter arc is. That's what transformation looks like. It's you alone, in the dark, clapping for yourself, believing in yourself, pushing yourself, when there's no crowd, no cheerleaders, no recognition. Just you and your commitment. And if you can endure that, if you can embrace that, if you can even learn to love that, you become unstoppable. Because you're no longer dependent on external validation. You're no longer needing others to believe in you. You're no longer waiting for permission or support or encouragement. You're self-sufficient. You're self-motivated. You're self-made. The loneliness is not something to avoid. It's not something to fear. It's something to embrace. It's a sign that you're on the right path. It's proof that you're doing something different. It's evidence that you're transforming. When the devil ignores you, that's when you know you're doing something wrong. Conversely, when the devil comes at you, when the resistance is strong, when the opposition is fierce, that's when you know you're doing something right. The loneliness is resistance. The isolation is the devil trying to get you to quit. The separation is the test. Pass the test. Embrace the loneliness. Lean into the isolation. Use the separation as fuel. Let it remind you that you're on a different path. Let it confirm that you're doing something right. Let it strengthen your resolve. You are alone, but you are not weak. You are not wrong. You are not crazy. You are exceptional. You are transforming. You are becoming. And that requires isolation. That requires separation. That requires loneliness. So embrace it. Stop fighting it. Stop complaining about it. Stop wishing it was different. This is your winter arc. This is your season of solitude. This is your time alone with yourself and your dreams. Use it. Embrace it. Let it transform you. Because on the other side of this loneliness is a version of you that's unstoppable. A version that doesn't need anyone's validation. A version that's comfortable in their own skin. A version that's strong enough to stand alone. And that version is worth every lonely moment. Embrace the loneliness. It's making you stronger. The loneliness of your winter arc is not punishment. It's preparation. You're being forged in solitude, strengthened in isolation, refined in the darkness. And when you emerge, you'll be someone who doesn't need anyone's approval to move forward. Someone who doesn't need anyone's validation to know their worth. Someone who can stand alone and be perfectly fine. That's the gift of loneliness. It teaches you self-sufficiency. It builds unshakable confidence. It proves that you don't need the crowd to be great. You just need yourself, your commitment, and your willingness to do what others won't. So if you're feeling lonely right now, if you're wondering where everyone went, if you're questioning whether this isolation is worth it, let me answer that for you. It is. Every lonely moment is making you stronger. Every isolated day is building your character. Every time you stand alone, you're proving to yourself that you can. And that proof, that evidence, that self-reliance, that's worth more than any friendship that can't support your growth. That's worth more than any relationship that requires you to stay small. That's worth more than any crowd that would rather see you comfortable than see you great. Embrace the loneliness. It's temporary, but the strength it builds is permanent. Chapter 8. Build your identity through action. You can't think your way into a new identity. You can't visualize your way into transformation. You can't affirm your way into becoming someone different. The only way to change your identity is through action, through repeatedly doing the things that person does, through proving to yourself, over and over, that you are who you say you are. Your identity is not determined by what you believe about yourself. It's determined by what you do. It's determined by your consistent actions. It's determined by the evidence you create through your choices. You can tell yourself you're disciplined all day long, but if you hit snooze every morning, you're not disciplined. Your identity is someone who hits snooze, not someone who's disciplined. This is hard to hear, because we like to think our identity is about our thoughts, our beliefs, our intentions. We like to think that if we just believe it strongly enough, we'll become it. But that's not how it works. Identity follows action, not the other way around. Think about it. If you want to become a runner, how do you do it? You run. Not once. Not when you feel like it. But consistently. Every day or most days. You put on your shoes and you run. And after weeks and months of running, your identity shifts. You become a runner. Not because you decided you're a runner, but because you have the evidence. You have the track record. You have the receipts. You run, therefore you are a runner. The same principle applies to everything. You want to become disciplined? Act disciplined. Make disciplined choices. Do disciplined things. Over and over and over. Eventually, discipline becomes part of your identity. Not because you tried really hard to believe it, but because you built the evidence through action. You want to become successful. Do what successful people do. Make the choices successful people make. Build the habits successful people have. Not once, not when it's convenient, but consistently over time, until success becomes part of your identity. Until you don't have to try to be successful. You just are, because that's who you've proven yourself to be through your actions. This is why your winter arc is so important, because the winter arc is your opportunity to build a new identity through action, to prove to yourself day after day, that you are who you're trying to become, to create undeniable evidence that you are transforming. Every morning you get up early, you're proving you're a morning person. Every workout you complete, you're proving you're fit and disciplined. Every healthy meal you eat, you're proving you value your body. Every hour you work on your goals, you're proving you're committed to success. Every action is a vote for the person you're becoming. And here's the beautiful part. Each action makes the next action easier, because now you have evidence. Now you have a track record. Now you can point to what you did yesterday and say, that's who I am. And it becomes easier to act consistently with that identity. But you have to start. You have to take that first action. You have to cast that first vote for your new identity. And then another, and another, until the votes pile up and become undeniable evidence of who you are. This is also why you can't fake it. You can't tell yourself you're disciplined while acting undisciplined and expect your identity to change. Your subconscious knows the truth. Your subconscious is keeping score. You can lie to others. You can even lie to your conscious mind. But you cannot lie to your subconscious. It knows every choice you make, every action you take, every vote you cast. And it forms your identity based on the evidence, not your wishes. So if you want to change your identity, you have to change your actions. You have to become someone who does different things. You have to build a new track record. You have to create new evidence. And you have to do it consistently, over time, until the new identity is solidified. Your winter arc is your laboratory. This is where you experiment with your new identity. This is where you test it. This is where you build it. Every day is an opportunity to take actions that align with who you're trying to become. Every choice is a vote. Every behavior is evidence. What identity are you trying to build? Who are you trying to become? Get specific. Write it down. Then ask yourself, what does that person do? How does that person act? What choices does that person make? And then do those things. Make those choices. Take those actions. Every single day. Don't wait until you feel like that person. You won't. You'll feel like the old you trying to act like the new you. And that's okay. That's normal. That's part of the process. You act your way into the new identity. You don't think your way into it. You don't feel your way into it. You act your way into it. And over time, something magical happens. The actions that felt forced start to feel natural. The choices that required willpower start to feel automatic. The behaviors that were hard become easy, because you've repeated them so many times that they've become part of who you are. They've become your identity. This is how transformation happens. This is how you actually change. Not through reading books, although that helps. Not through watching videos, although that inspires. But through action. Through repeated, consistent, daily action that builds evidence of who you're becoming. So take action. Today. Right now. Make one choice that aligns with your new identity. Cast one vote for the person you're trying to become. Create one piece of evidence that proves you're changing. And then tomorrow, do it again. And the next day. And the next. Build your identity one action at a time. One choice at a time. One day at a time. That's how transformation works. That's how you actually become different. Not by thinking about it. Not by wanting it. But by doing it. Over and over and over until it becomes who you are. Your winter arc is your action phase. Stop thinking. Stop planning. Stop preparing. Start doing. Start acting. Start building. Your new identity is waiting on the other side of consistent action. Go get it. Chapter 9. The power of becoming comfortable with discomfort. You know what's keeping you stuck. Comfort. Your addiction to feeling good. Your need for things to be easy. Your belief that if something is hard or uncomfortable, you shouldn't have to do it. That's what's keeping you exactly where you are. Because here's the truth. Everything you want is on the other side of discomfort. Every goal you have requires you to do things that are uncomfortable. Every version of yourself you want to become requires you to endure discomfort. There's no way around this. The only way to your dreams is through discomfort. And most people will never get there. Most people will spend their entire lives avoiding discomfort, staying comfortable, staying safe, staying small. And they'll die with regrets. They'll die knowing they could have been more, done more, become more, but they weren't willing to be uncomfortable. Don't be like most people. Learn to become comfortable with discomfort. Learn to embrace it. Learn to seek it out. Because when you do, you unlock a level of growth and transformation that most people will never experience. Think about every significant growth moment in your life. Every time you leveled up. Every time you broke through. Every time you became more. What was required? Discomfort. You had to do something hard. Something scary. Something that pushed you beyond what you thought you were capable of. The discomfort was not the obstacle. The discomfort was the path. But somewhere along the way, we learned that comfort is the goal. We learned that we should avoid discomfort. We learned that if something is hard, it means it's wrong. And that programming is destroying our potential. Because growth requires discomfort. Excellence requires discomfort. Transformation requires discomfort. Your winter arc is the perfect time to reprogram this. To train yourself to become comfortable with discomfort. To actually seek out the hard stuff. To understand that if something is uncomfortable, it probably means you should do more of it, not less. Start with physical discomfort. The cold shower. The early morning workout. The one more rep when your muscles are burning. The run when it's raining. The training when you're sore. This is your training ground. This is where you learn that discomfort will not kill you. That you can endure it. That you can push through it. That on the other side of it, you're stronger. Physical discomfort is the easiest to start with because the feedback is immediate. You're cold. You endure it. You're warm again. You're tired. You push through. You recover. You're sore. You train anyway. You get stronger. You learn that discomfort is temporary, but the growth is permanent. Then you take that lesson into other areas. Mental discomfort. The discomfort of studying when you'd rather watch TV. The discomfort of working on your business when you're not seeing results yet. The discomfort of facing your fears. The discomfort of pushing your limits mentally. Emotional discomfort. The discomfort of having hard conversations. The discomfort of setting boundaries. The discomfort of saying no. The discomfort of being alone. The discomfort of being misunderstood. The discomfort of changing who you are. Social discomfort. The discomfort of standing out. The discomfort of being different. The discomfort of being the only one doing what you're doing. The discomfort of losing friends. The discomfort of being called crazy. The discomfort of going against the grain. All of these forms of discomfort are necessary for growth. All of them are required for transformation. And if you're avoiding them, you're staying stuck. You're choosing comfort over growth. Safety over success. Easy over excellent. But not anymore. During your winter arc, you're going to actively seek discomfort. You're going to do the hard thing. You're going to choose the uncomfortable path. Not because you enjoy suffering, but because you understand that discomfort is the price of growth, and you're willing to pay it. And here's what happens when you do this consistently. When you repeatedly choose discomfort. When you train yourself to push through when things are hard. When you expand your comfort zone again and again. You become someone who can handle anything. You become someone who doesn't quit when things get tough. You become someone who thrives in adversity. Most people crumble when things get hard. They fold under pressure. They quit when it's uncomfortable. But not you. You've trained for this. You've built your capacity to handle discomfort. You've expanded your comfort zone so much that what used to terrify you now feels manageable. What used to stop others doesn't even slow you down. That's power. Real power. Not the absence of challenges or discomfort, but the ability to handle them. The capacity to push through them. The willingness to embrace them as part of the process. Think about it like building a muscle. The only way to build a bigger muscle is to subject it to resistance, to break it down, to make it uncomfortable. The discomfort is not the problem. The discomfort is the solution. It's the mechanism of growth. Without it, there is no growth. Your life works the same way. The discomfort is not the problem. The discomfort is the solution. It's the mechanism of your transformation. Without it, there is no transformation. So stop avoiding it. Stop complaining about it. Stop wishing it was easier. Start embracing it. Start seeking it. Start recognizing it as the sign that you're growing. When something feels uncomfortable, that's good. That means you're stretching. That means you're expanding. That means you're pushing beyond your current limits. That's exactly where you need to be. Not in the safe zone. Not in the comfortable zone, but in the growth zone. And the growth zone is always uncomfortable. Your winter arc is your training ground. This is where you build your capacity for discomfort. This is where you expand your comfort zone. This is where you train yourself to embrace the hard stuff. Because when you come out of your winter arc, when spring arrives, you'll be someone who can handle anything. Someone who doesn't flinch in the face of adversity. Someone who's comfortable being uncomfortable. And that person is unstoppable. Because while everyone else is avoiding discomfort and staying small, you're running toward discomfort and becoming great. While everyone else is choosing easy and staying average, you're choosing hard and becoming exceptional. Become comfortable with discomfort. It's not about learning to like it. It's about learning to not let it stop you. It's about recognizing it as part of the process. It's about understanding that on the other side of every uncomfortable moment is a better version of you. So bring on the discomfort. Bring on the hard workouts. Bring on the cold showers. Bring on the difficult conversations. Bring on the lonely nights. Bring on the early mornings. Bring on the uncertainty. Bring on the fear. Bring it all on. Because you're building your capacity. You're expanding your limits. You're becoming unstoppable. And when you're comfortable with discomfort, when you're no longer afraid of hard things, when you've trained yourself to push through anything, that's when you truly become dangerous. That's when you become someone who achieves things others only dream about. That's when you become exceptional. Your winter arc is calling, and it's uncomfortable. Good. That means it's working. The journey to becoming comfortable with discomfort never truly ends. It's a daily practice, a constant choice, a way of life. And the more you practice it, the more capable you become, the more you can handle, the more you can achieve, the more you can become. So welcome the discomfort. Thank it for showing up, because it means you're alive. It means you're growing. It means you're on the path to becoming extraordinary. And that path, while uncomfortable, is the only path worth walking. Chapter 10. Job's not finished. You achieved something. Congratulations. You had a good day. You completed a hard workout. You made progress on your goal. You got some recognition. You're feeling good. You're feeling accomplished. You're feeling like maybe you can relax now. Maybe you can take your foot off the gas. Maybe you earned a break. Job's not finished. This is the trap. This is where most people fail. Not when things are hard, but when things are going well. Not when they're struggling, but when they're succeeding. Because success breeds comfort. Achievement breeds complacency. Progress breeds the dangerous belief that you can coast now. You can't. Job's not finished. Will never be finished. That's the mindset you need. That's the mentality that separates legends from everyone else. Legends don't stop when they achieve something. They don't celebrate too long. They don't get comfortable. They achieve and immediately look for the next thing. They succeed and immediately raise the bar. They win and immediately ask, what's next? Think about Kobe Bryant. Finals game. Up by 20. Most people would be celebrating. Most people would be relaxed. Not Kobe. Reporter asks him, why aren't you smiling? You're up 20. His response, job's not finished. The game's not over. The series isn't over. The season isn't over. Job's not finished. That's the mentality. That's the standard. That's what unstoppable looks like. Not satisfied with being ahead. Not comfortable with temporary success. Always focused on what's next. Always driven. Always pushing. Because the job is never finished. Your winter arc is about building this mentality, this relentless, never satisfied, always pushing mentality. Because here's what most people don't understand. Staying successful is harder than becoming successful. Maintaining is harder than achieving. Defending is harder than conquering. Getting in shape is hard. But staying in shape is harder because it never ends. You don't just get fit and stop. You have to maintain it. Every day. Forever. Building a business is hard. But keeping it successful is harder. You don't just build it and forget it. You have to keep working on it. Every day. Forever. That's what jobs not finished means. It means you never arrive. You never get to a place where you can stop. You never reach a point where you can coast. There's no finish line. There's only the next level, the next goal, the next challenge. And that's not depressing. That's exciting. Because it means you always have something to work toward. You always have a reason to push. You always have an opportunity to grow. But most people don't see it that way. Most people are trying to get to a place where they can relax, where they can stop working so hard, where they can enjoy life. And here's the truth. If you ever get to that place, if you ever stop pushing, you start dying. Not physically, but mentally, spiritually. The purpose disappears. The drive fades. The energy drains. You need the pursuit. You need the challenge. You need the work. Not because you're a workaholic. Not because you can't relax. But because that's what keeps you alive. That's what keeps you growing. That's what keeps you feeling alive and engaged and purposeful. So when you achieve something during your winter arc, celebrate for 5 minutes. Acknowledge the win. Feel good about it. Then immediately ask, what's next? What's the next level? What's the next goal? What's the next challenge? Keep the momentum. Keep the hunger. Keep the drive. Don't let achievement make you soft. Don't let success make you comfortable. Don't let progress make you complacent. Stay hungry. Stay humble. Stay focused. Because the moment you think you've arrived is the moment you start declining. The moment you think you can relax is the moment you start losing ground. Think about it like climbing a mountain. You reach a plateau. Beautiful view. You're higher than you've ever been. Most people stop there. They camp out. They enjoy the view. They pat themselves on the back. But the summit is still higher. The peak is still above. And if you stop at the plateau, you never reach the peak. Keep climbing. Always. That doesn't mean you don't appreciate where you are. It doesn't mean you don't acknowledge your progress. It just means you don't stop. You don't settle. You don't mistake the plateau for the peak. Job's not finished. This mentality also protects you from the biggest enemy of success, satisfaction. When you're satisfied, you stop pushing. When you're satisfied, you get comfortable. When you're satisfied, you start protecting what you have instead of pursuing what's possible. And that's when you start declining. But if you maintain the job's not finished mentality, you never get satisfied. You stay hungry. You stay driven. You stay focused on what's next instead of what you've achieved. And that hunger keeps you sharp, keeps you growing, keeps you ascending. People will tell you you need to be satisfied. They'll tell you to be grateful for what you have. They'll tell you you're working too hard. They'll tell you to relax and enjoy life. And here's what you tell them. I am grateful. I am enjoying life. I love what I'm doing. And I'm not stopping. Because job's not finished. You can be grateful for where you are and still be hungry for more. You can appreciate your current success and still be working toward the next level. You can enjoy the journey and still be driven to reach the destination. These things are not mutually exclusive. In fact, they work together. Gratitude fuels the hunger. Appreciation enhances the drive. So during your winter arc, practice this mentality. Every time you complete something, immediately ask, what's next? Every time you achieve something, immediately set a new goal. Every time you reach a milestone, immediately look for the next one. Train yourself to never stop, never settle, never be satisfied. Job's not finished. And when your winter arc ends, when you emerge transformed, When you've achieved what you set out to achieve, guess what? Job's still not finished. Because now you have to maintain what you built. Now you have to defend what you've achieved. Now you have to keep growing. The arc never really ends. It just evolves. That's the life of someone who's truly unstoppable. Someone who's always pushing, always growing, always pursuing. Not because they're unhappy, but because they understand that growth is life. Stagnation is death. Progress is fulfillment. Comfort is the enemy. Job's not finished. Will never be finished. And that's exactly how you want it. Because the day you think the job is finished is the day you start declining. The day you get satisfied is the day you stop growing. The day you stop pushing is the day you start dying. So don't finish. Don't stop. Don't ever be satisfied. Always have something you're working toward. Always have a next level you're pursuing. Always have a higher standard you're reaching for. Keep the job unfinished. Keep the hunger alive. Keep the drive burning. That's the winter arc mentality. That's the mindset of legends. That's how you become and stay unstoppable. Job's not finished. It never is. And it never should be. Chapter 11. Small acts, big impact. You think transformation requires massive action, dramatic changes, huge sacrifices, complete life overhauls, and you're intimidated by that. You're overwhelmed by that, so you don't start. You wait for the perfect moment. You wait until you can do it all perfectly. You wait until you're ready for massive change. Here's the truth. Transformation doesn't start with massive action. It starts with small acts, tiny decisions, micro commitments, things so small they seem insignificant. But repeated over time, these small acts create big impact. They compound. They multiply. They transform you. Your winter arc is not about doing something huge today. It's about doing something small today, and then doing it again tomorrow, and the next day, and the next. It's about the compound effect of small acts repeated consistently over time. That's where the magic is. That's where transformation lives. Think about it. You don't lose 50 pounds in one workout. You lose it one workout at a time, over months. You don't build $1 million business in one day. You build it one decision at a time, over years. You don't become disciplined in one moment. You become it one choice at a time, consistently. The small acts are the building blocks. Each one seems insignificant. Each one feels like it doesn't matter. But each one is a deposit into your future. Each one is a vote for who you're becoming. Each one is compounding with every other small act to create something massive. But most people don't believe this. They want the big wins, the dramatic transformations, the overnight success. They want to see results immediately. And when small acts don't create immediate visible results, they quit. They think it's not working. They think they're wasting their time. They go looking for the next big thing that promises faster results. And they never transform. Because transformation doesn't happen fast. It happens slowly, through consistent small acts, through daily disciplines, through micro commitments kept over and over. That's the path. There's no shortcut. There's no hack. There's only the patient, persistent execution of small acts. During your winter arc, focus on the small acts. Don't worry about the big picture. Don't stress about where you're going to be in 6 months. Focus on today. Focus on this moment. Focus on this one small act. Did you wake up on time? That's a win. Did you work out? That's a win. Did you eat healthy? That's a win. Did you work on your goal? That's a win. String enough of these small wins together and you transform your entire life. Each small act is proof. Proof that you're changing. Proof that you're committed. Proof that you're becoming someone different. And that proof accumulates. That evidence builds. And eventually, the proof is so overwhelming that your identity has no choice but to shift. You become who you've been proving yourself to be through small acts. This is also how you build momentum. Momentum doesn't start with massive action. It starts with a small act, then another, then another. Each one makes the next one easier. Each one builds on the last. Each one adds to the momentum. And before you know it, you have unstoppable momentum carrying you forward. But you have to start. You have to take that first small act. And you have to do it without attachment to immediate results. You have to trust the process. You have to believe that these small acts matter even when you can't see the impact yet. You have to have faith that the compound effect is working even when it's invisible. Think about an airplane taking off. It starts by moving slowly, rolling down the runway, building speed gradually. There's a point before takeoff where it seems like it's never going to get off the ground, like all this speed is being built for nothing. But it keeps accelerating, keeps building momentum. And then suddenly, effortlessly, it lifts off. It flies. Your transformation is the same. You're building speed with small acts. You're accelerating gradually. There will be a point where it feels like nothing is happening. Like all this work is for nothing. Like you're never going to take off. But keep going. Keep executing the small acts. Keep building momentum. Because takeoff is coming. You just can't see it yet. And when you do take off, when transformation becomes visible, people will think it happened overnight. They'll think you're lucky. They'll think you suddenly changed. But you'll know the truth. You'll know it was the result of hundreds or thousands of small acts. You'll know it was compound effect. You'll know it was the patient, persistent execution of tiny decisions over months. So commit to the small acts. Make your bed every morning. That's a small act of discipline. Drink a glass of water first thing. That's a small act of self-care. Do 10 push-ups. That's a small act of fitness. Read 10 pages. That's a small act of growth. Write 1 paragraph. That's a small act of creation. Do these small things every single day and watch your life transform. Don't underestimate the small acts. Don't dismiss them as insignificant. Don't wait for the big opportunity to take big action. Take small action now. Today. This moment. Because the small acts are what create the big results. The small acts are what build the foundation. The small acts are what separate people who transform from people who just talk about transforming. Your winter arc is made of small acts. Not one big dramatic change, but countless small choices. Countless tiny commitments. Countless micro-disciplines. Each one building on the last. Each one compounding with the others. Each one moving you closer to who you're becoming. So focus on today. Focus on this moment. Focus on this one small act. Then do it again tomorrow. And the next day. And the next. Trust the process. Trust the compound effect. Trust that these small acts are creating big impact, even when you can't see it yet. Because they are. Every single one matters. Every single one counts. Every single one is transforming you. Small acts, big impact. That's the formula. That's the path. That's your winter arc. Chapter 12. When you feel like quitting. You're going to want to quit. Multiple times. During your winter arc, you're going to have days where you wake up and think, I can't do this anymore. You're going to have moments where the grind feels too hard, where the loneliness feels too heavy, where work feels pointless, where you question everything. This is normal. This is part of the process. This is the test. Because transformation requires you to push through the moments when you want to quit, the moments when giving up would be easier, the moments when walking away seems like the logical choice. Those moments are where legends are made. Most people quit. When it gets hard, they stop. When they don't see results fast enough, they give up. When the excitement fades and reality sets in, they walk away. And then they wonder why they never transform, why they never achieve their goals, why they stay stuck in the same place year after year. Because they quit. They quit at the moment when transformation was about to happen. They quit right before the breakthrough. They quit when they were closer to success than they realized. They quit because they didn't understand that the urge to quit is actually a sign that you're close. It's a sign that you're about to level up. It's a sign that transformation is near. Think about it. Why do you want to quit? Because it's hard. Because it's uncomfortable. Because you're being challenged. because you're pushing beyond your current limits. And that discomfort, that difficulty, that challenge, that's the mechanism of growth. That's what creates transformation. So when you feel that, when you want to quit because it's too hard, that's actually confirmation that you're exactly where you need to be. The urge to quit is resistance. It's your old self trying to protect itself. It's your comfort zone trying to pull you back. It's fear trying to keep you safe. And if you give in to it, if you quit when you feel like quitting, you stay exactly who you were. You don't transform. You don't grow. You don't become. But if you push through, if you keep going when every part of you wants to stop, that's when magic happens. That's when you prove to yourself that you're stronger than you thought. That's when you build unshakable confidence. That's when you become someone who doesn't quit. And that identity, that self-perception as someone who doesn't quit no matter what, that's worth more than any external achievement. So when you feel like quitting during your winter arc, recognize it for what it is. It's not a sign that you should stop. It's not evidence that you're on the wrong path. It's not proof that you can't do it. It's the test. It's the moment that will define you. It's the fork in the road where you choose to become someone different or stay who you've always been. How do you push through? You don't think about the whole journey. You don't focus on how far you still have to go. You don't overwhelm yourself with the big picture. You just focus on the next step, the next hour, the next day. You break it down to the smallest possible unit, and you commit to just that. You feel like quitting your workout. Don't think about the whole workout. Just do the next set. Then when that's done, do the next one. One set at a time. You feel like quitting your business? Don't think about the next 5 years. Just do the next task. Make the next call. Write the next email. One task at a time. You feel like quitting your winter arc? Don't think about the months ahead. Just finish today. Just make it through this moment. One day at a time. This is how you overcome the urge to quit. You shrink the timeline. You reduce the scope. You focus on what's immediately in front of you. And you do that one thing. Then the next. Then the next. And before you know it, you've pushed through. You've made it to the other side of the resistance. And you're stronger for it. Also remember why you started. When you're in the middle of the grind and you want to quit, it's easy to forget your why. It's easy to lose sight of the vision. It's easy to question whether it's worth it. That's why you need to reconnect with your purpose regularly. Why are you doing this? What are you trying to achieve? Who are you trying to become? What will it cost you if you quit? Really think about that last question. What will it cost you if you quit? Not just the external goals you won't achieve, but the internal cost, the damage to your self-respect, the confirmation of your fears that you can't finish what you start, the reinforcement of the identity that you're a quitter, the missed opportunity to prove to yourself that you're capable of more than you thought. Quitting has a cost, and that cost is higher than the cost of continuing. Yes, continuing is hard. Yes, pushing through is uncomfortable. Yes, the grind is real, but quitting is worse. Quitting means living with the regret, living with the what if, living with the knowledge that you gave up on yourself. That cost is too high. So when you want to quit, play the tape forward. Imagine yourself 6 months from now having quit. How do you feel? Proud? Strong? Accomplished? Or do you feel regret? Disappointment? Frustration with yourself? Now imagine yourself 6 months from now having pushed through, having completed your winter arc, having transformed. How do you feel then? Which version of your future self do you want to become? That's the choice. Every time you want to quit, you're choosing which future self you're creating. The one who quit or the one who persevered. The one who gave in to discomfort or the one who pushed through it. The one who stayed the same or the one who transformed. Choose wisely. And remember this. You can do hard things. You've done hard things before. You've survived every difficult moment in your life up to this point. You've pushed through challenges you thought would break you. You've endured pain you thought was unbearable. And yet here you are, still standing, still fighting, still capable. You can do this hard thing too. This winter arc, this transformation, this grind. You can do it, not because it's easy, not because it feels good, but because you're capable of more than you realize, because you're stronger than you think, because you have within you everything you need to push through and transform. So when you feel like quitting, don't. Just don't. Feel the urge. Acknowledge it. Then ignore it and keep going. One more day. One more step. One more moment. That's all you need. Just keep going. Because the moment you want to quit the most is the moment you're closest to breakthrough. The darkest hour is right before dawn. The hardest part of the climb is right before the summit. Don't quit in the dark. Don't quit in the hard part. Don't quit when you're close. Push through. Keep going. Make it to the other side. Because that's where your transformation waits. That's where the person you're meant to become lives. That's where your winter arc becomes your greatest achievement. You will feel like quitting. Many times. And each time, you'll have a choice. Give in or push through. Quit or continue. Stay the same or transform. Choose to continue. Choose to push through. Choose to not quit. And watch yourself become unstoppable. Conclusion: you are the sun. The sun doesn't stop for nobody. Every morning, without fail, the sun rises. It doesn't matter if it's cloudy. Doesn't matter if it's raining. Doesn't matter if anyone's watching. The sun shows up and does its job. Every single day. No excuses. No negotiations. Just consistent, reliable presence. Be like the sun. That's what your winter arc has taught you. That's what you've become. Someone who shows up every day. Someone who doesn't need perfect conditions. Someone who doesn't wait for motivation. Someone who doesn't require external validation. Someone who just does the work. Every single day. No matter what. You started this journey unsure if you could transform. Unsure if you had what it takes. Unsure if you could push through the discomfort and loneliness and grind. But you did. Day after day, you showed up. You did the work. You made the choices. You built the discipline. And now look at you. You're different. You're stronger. You're more than you were. This is not the end. This is the beginning. Because now you know what you're capable of. Now you've proven to yourself that you can transform. Now you have the evidence. Now you have the track record. Now you have the confidence that comes from doing hard things. And that changes everything. The person you were before your winter arc couldn't have achieved what you want to achieve. That person wasn't ready. That person wasn't strong enough. That person wasn't disciplined enough. But the person you are now, the person you've become through this process, that person can achieve anything. That person is unstoppable. That person is dangerous. Not dangerous to others, but dangerous to mediocrity, dangerous to complacency, dangerous to the status quo. You're someone who refuses to accept less than your potential, someone who refuses to settle, someone who refuses to quit, and that makes you a force to be reckoned with. Take that energy into the world. Take that discipline into your goals. Take that resilience into your challenges. Take that version of yourself forward, and don't ever go back. Don't ever forget what you've learned. Don't ever lose the edge you've developed. Don't ever let yourself get soft again, because the world needs people like you. People who don't quit. People who do hard things. People who transform themselves and then use that transformation to impact others. People who understand that easy is the enemy and comfort is a trap. People who choose growth over stagnation every single time. You've completed your winter arc, but the principles don't end here. The habits don't stop here. The discipline doesn't fade here. You take everything you've built and you keep building. You take everything you've learned, and you keep learning. You take who you've become, and you keep becoming more. Because job's not finished. Remember? It's never finished. There's always another level. Always another goal. Always another version of yourself to become. And that's exciting. That's what keeps you alive. That's what gives you purpose. The endless pursuit of becoming more. So what's next? What's your next goal? Your next challenge? Your next transformation? Don't waste time. Don't rest on your accomplishments. Don't get comfortable with who you've become. Start planning your next arc, your next season of growth, your next level of excellence. But also appreciate where you are. Acknowledge what you've accomplished. Recognize how far you've come. You did something most people will never do. You transformed yourself through sheer will and discipline. You proved that you're capable of extraordinary things. You became someone new. That deserves recognition. From yourself, for yourself. And then keep going. Because the sun doesn't stop. The sun doesn't celebrate too long. The sun doesn't rest on yesterday's rising. Every day is a new day. Every day requires showing up again. Every day is another opportunity to shine, to do the work, to be who you've become. Your winter arc is complete. You've survived the cold. You've endured the darkness. You've pushed through the loneliness. You've built something unbreakable inside yourself. And now you're ready. Ready for whatever comes next. Ready for bigger challenges. Ready for higher levels. Ready to become even more. Go out there and dominate. Go out there and achieve. Go out there and become. Take everything you've learned and apply it relentlessly. Take the person you've become and let that person lead. Take the discipline you've built and use it to create the life you want. You are unstoppable now. You've proven it to yourself. You've built the evidence. You've created the track record. You know what you're capable of. And that knowledge, that confidence, that certainty, that's your superpower going forward. Be the sun. Show up every day. Do the work every day. Shine every day. No excuses. No negotiations. Just consistent, relentless presence. That's who you are now. That's what you've become. That's your identity. The winter arc is over. But the journey continues. You're not who you were. You're someone new. Someone stronger. Someone better. Someone unstoppable. Take that person forward. And never look back. The sun is rising. And you are the sun. Shine bright. Shine consistent. Shine forever. This is your life. Your transformation. Your story. Make it legendary.